What's up, YouTube? Destruction here. So I'm doing a tournament report from my locals this past weekend. I didn't have the results I was looking for. I was really hoping, to get like top 4 at least. Our locals isn't very big, so it was only 4 rounds. It goes 4 or 5 rounds depending on the turnout of that weekend. I ended up going 2-2, which was pretty unfortunate. My first round matchup was against Monarchs. I've only played against that deck a couple times online, so I'm still learning the matchup. Game 1, he pretty much just locked me out. Game 2, I managed to steal a win from him, and then Game 3, I don't know, I was just bricking really hard. I drew a bunch of hand traps, and they didn't do a whole lot against them, because I sided in a few, and yeah, I don't know, it was just really unfortunate draws. Round 2, I played against a cubic deck. I went 1-2 against that. That deck's really nuts. I've only played against it like one time online, I think, so I wasn't super familiar. I really need to just practice these matchups. Yeah, but yeah, game 1 he won. Game 2 I managed to take off of him, and game 3 was nuts. 1 I misplayed pretty hard. I had a twin twister in my hand. He went first, and he set 1 face down and passed. And I got really greedy, and I went into Crystal Wing without twin twistering his 1 back row, and unfortunately I ended up getting Solemn Strike. And then also in that game, he played his 3000 beater, played another 3000 beater, and then he had the level 4 dude, Duza I think is his name, and then he played a spell that decreases one of my monster's attack points by half, because all I had was the Windwitch Bell. All I had was this on the field, due to Call the Haunted. Brought him back, so he halved that, doubled one of his 3000 beaters, and then he was swinging for 6,000 just from one of them, another 3,000 from the other one. I forget how much the Duza dude has. I think it's like 12 or 1400, and then he was burning me for 3,000 at the end with his 3,000 beaters. So yeah, it was pretty ridiculous. Lesson learned: don't be greedy, and try not just out one back row with a twin twister, especially if that's the only thing they have set. That was really a horrible mistake on my part, so I really did deserve that loss. Round 3, I played against Blue Eyes. Yeah, Blue Eyes Invoked. I don't know, that guy didn't have very good draws. In my opinion, that deck doesn't seem very good at all. My buddy tried to say it was really good because it's the power of Blue Eyes with the consistency of Invoked and control of Invoked, I guess. I don't know. It wasn't... I've never seen that deck do well, honestly. I don't know if it's just a matchup against Windwitch Invoked that's not very good for it, but yeah, I beat that dude pretty easily. I believe it was 2-0. In one game, I even negated his, or not really negated, but I prevented his invocation from fusion summoning with D barrier, and then I actually used his Alistar from his graveyard, and I believe it was a Sage with Eyes of Blue. Yeah, and yeah, I don't know. He didn't even draw. Besides the Sage, you wouldn't even have known he was playing Blue Eyes deck or whatever, which was pretty crazy. I think he just did have unfortunate draws, and I don't think that deck is very good. And then the last match up I went against round 4 was I'm not even sure what you'd call it. It was like a zombie synchro graveyard deck, I guess, with the Light Storm in it. His deck seemed pretty fun. He synchroed the hell out of his monsters. Unfortunately, I was able to have some pretty decent plays and end up getting the win off of him. It was 2-1, or yeah, 2-1 me. So yeah, that was a pretty fun matchup, honestly. I maxied him, and he ended up giving me like 10 cards one round, which obviously is like kind of a mistake on his part. But yeah, I don't know. I had fun though over the weekend. I was really disappointed at my 2 losses, but like I said, I was preparing for a more, I guess, meta deck, and not these, like Cubic and Monarchs or whatever. So, anyways, I'll get into the deck list or whatever, and I'll explain it, all the cards. So we're running 3 Alistar, the Invoker. So what he does is when he's normal summon or flipped, you can search your deck for an invocation spell card and add it to your hand. Also, you can discard him, and you can increase your one fusion monster that you control's attack and defense by 1,000 until the end of turn. And we're running 3 Windwitch Ice Bells. So what she does is if you control no other monsters, you can special summon her from your hand to the field, and then when she special summon from this way, you can burn your opponent for 500 damage, and then you can special summon 1 Windwitch from your deck to the field. Also, you can only special summon level 5 or higher wind monsters from your extra deck for the rest of the turn for her. And then what you'll want to search and special summon off of her is Windwitch Glass Spell. And when she special summon, you can search your deck for a Windwitch and add it to your hand. And then we have a Windwitch Snowbell, which is what you're going to be searching off of, searching for when you get the Glass Spell out. So you can special summon this from your hand if you control 2 or more wind monsters and no non-wind monsters. Also, the synchro monster that you go into with this cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So you're ultimately looking to go into Crystal Wing, Synchro Dragon, making it very not impossible, but very difficult for your opponent to out. Next, we have some hand traps. We have 2 Maxi. Maxi is obviously an amazing card, one of the best cards in the game in my opinion. Especially the current format where Zoo will net you like 5 to 6 cards if they don't stop. So, very good card. Then we have a Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, very good for disrupting your opponent's plays. No, it does not negate their effect, but it does destroy the card after the effect resolves, the face-up card. Yeah, it's just a very solid card. Very good fodder for your invocation going into your fusions. We're playing the Artifact engine, so we're running 3 Scythes. I was running a Moral Attack. Honestly, still find myself wanting Moral Attack in a lot of matchups. I did trim this deck down to 40 cards because I'm trying to make it as consistent as possible. That being said, though, there are a few cards I do want to squeeze in this deck, but I just don't have the cards to take out, so I may be bumping it back up to 41 or 42. Yeah, I'm just going to test it out online and see what my preference is for that. Because I honestly, after this weekend, I felt like I want Mirror Force of some sort. Most likely Quaking, maybe a normal, but just some kind of back row protection other than D-Barrier and Strikes. I mean, especially against those crazy decks like the Cubic deck, you know, a Mirror Force. That Quaking Mirror Force would have been amazing. Yeah. So then we're going to go into the spell lineup. So we're running 1 Regeki. I just got my secret version of it and I'm really excited. It's a great card. Running 3 of one of my favorite cards in the deck is Wonder Wand. It's amazing. You draw 2 cards just from sending a Alistair from your side of the field to the graveyard. I mean, it works on any spellcaster, but it's really good, especially on him, because you can banish him from the graveyard via invocation, so it's not hurting you at all, and you're just getting plus cards off of that. Running 2 Twin Twister. Cards just solid all around. You can pitch your artifacts if you need to, and then we're running Call the Haunted, and then you can always just bring them back. Yeah, I haven't had any luck of people actually popping my artifacts this past weekend from my back row being set, but yeah, so I mean, pitching them with Twin Twister is always an option, or just fusing with them from your hand via invocation, which is my next card that I'm running 2 of. It can get searched out by Alistair, so you really don't need 3. I mean, you can run into times where they just de-barrier both invocations and you're kind of sucking, but I mean, yeah, if it's that bad, you're probably not going to win anyways. Next, I'm running 3 of the Field Spell Magical Meltdown. When you play this card, you can search your deck for an Alistair the Invoker and add it to your hand. And also, your opponent cannot negate your fusion effects, and also they cannot respond to your fusion summonings. So, yeah, it's really good. And by fusion effects, I mean the spell that allows you to fuse. It cannot be negated. Pretty solid card. I wish it did a little bit more than what it does. I know it probably sounds like a lot, but I don't know. I mean, I feel like it could do more. Next, we're running 2 Terraforming to search out the field spell. I was considering bumping this down to 1. You already have between these and then Alistair, that's, you know, 9 ways to find them, or 8 ways to find them rather. I don't know. I feel like I maybe want to bump down Terraforming to 1, and then that would be one less card from when I add the mirror forces. I'm gonna have to test it out and see how it works out. So that's the spell lineup for the main deck, and then into our traps. Running 3-dimensional barrier. This card's super amazing. It's unfortunate it's so expensive, but I think it's a 3-of like staple in most decks. I know a lot of people may not be able to like attain 3 of them, but if you can, I feel like almost every deck should run them. 2 solemn strikes, negating your opponent's monster effects or special summoning, and then we're running 3 artifact sanctums to fetch out your scythes. Also, if it gets destroyed by your opponent's card effects, then you can destroy 1 card on the field. Then we're running 2 Call the Haunted. Got the foil version. I mean, not much to say about this card. It's just solid. It brings back. You can bring back your artifacts to get another effect from them. You can bring back your Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. You can bring back your fusion monsters. I mean, it's pretty straightforward what it does. It's really solid. And then we have 1 Vanity's Emptiness for our 40th card. That's our trap lineup. That's our main deck. Next, I will go into the extra deck. So, extra deck. I haven't made him yet. He's good in theory, though. You could shuffle back pretty much most of the combo for your Crystal Wing, including your Crystal Wing, so you can go into him a second time. So 1 Daggers to Emerald. Running 1 Wind Up Arsenal's Zen Malhoy, whatever. For some reason, this card just like doubled in price, which is crazy. I don't go into him very often. I've done it a few times online, and it's been pretty decent. Yeah, I had 1 replay that I uploaded where they kept flipping the dude face down like several turns in a row, and I couldn't even get his effect off. But he is good in theory. We are running 1 Clear Wing Synchro Dragon. I like to go into him if my opponent maxes me turn 1 and I don't want to give them the extra draw, or yeah, the extra draw of going into the Winter Bell, or what's her name? I always get the Windwitches mixed up. I apologize. Yeah, the Snow Bell. That would be an extra summon to go into the Crystal Wing. So a lot of times I'll stop into him. Also, if you do get your full combo off and you get to go into your Crystal Wing, then you could just go into him later on in the game. Speaking of Crystal Wing, we are running 1 Crystal Wing. So Clear Wing can negate a level 5 or higher monster effect once per turn. Also, if a monster effect targets a level 5 or higher, you can negate that as well. And then Crystal Wing, you can stop once per turn. You can once per either player's turn, you can negate a monster's effect, destroy it, gain attack equal to its attack. Also, if you battle a level 5 or higher monster, he'll gain its attack. Windwitch Winter Bell. You can, when this is Synchro Summon, you can target a Windwitch in your graveyard and then burn your opponent for 200 damage times its level. It also has another effect. When you're battling, you can target a Windwitch you control and then special summon a monster from your hand with less than or equal to the monster's level. That has never come up for me, so I don't know. I don't even think about that ability half the time, honestly. Alright, that's it for Synchros and our XZs. Now we're going to go into our fusions. We're running 1 Invoked Elysium. I've only ever made this once online. It was actually pretty decent. It's just a little bit more difficult to get out than any of the other ones because it relies on an invoked monster and then another special summon from the extra deck monster. So it is a little bit difficult, but pretty much it counts as all the attributes, and then you can sacrifice this or tribute it, and then pretty much banish all the monsters that your opponent controls that shares the attribute as this. So it's really good in testing in the one time that I did pull it off, but like I said, it is pretty difficult to get off. Next, we're running 1 Invoked Purgatrio. So in case you're facing metal foes or Infernoids, their fire attribute or whatever, so you can use their monsters to go into it. Pretty much it can attack every monster your opponent controls, and it also gains 200 attack for every card that your opponent controls. So yeah, it's pretty decent all around, and it also inflicts piercing damage. So it's got a lot of effects. Pretty solid card. It's just metal foes and Infernoids isn't very prominent in my in my locals, so I don't go into that very often in real life. I have done it several times online though, because Infernoise is pretty rampant on there. Next we have an Invoked Cocytus. It's a water attribute, so it's good against your frogs or your what are they, mermails, which I thought would be pretty popular here at my locals, because normally it's the top fours consist of at least 3 of some combination of the 2, but there wasn't a single one that I went against this last weekend. I think the number 1 dude did end up playing frogs, but I didn't play him, so I never got to use this weekend. But I have used it in the past, and pretty much this can attack from defense position, and your opponent cannot target it with effects, so, or it can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects, and they can't target it, yeah. So it's not bad. It's good against mirror forces and such. So next we're running 2 Invoked Macabre. So I really like running 3 of him. However, you don't go into him as much as you do Raijin, because when you're doing your synchro combo, you're not allowed, or you're not able to go into Macabre that turn. So you're more than likely to go into your Raijin into 3 than you are to Macabre. I mean, I do think running 3 is perfectly fine if you're able to find the deck space for it. However, the next monster I actually bumped up to 2, which I'm about to show you. I had to cut 1 for him. So for the 2 that I'm running is Invoked Lanica. So it's just a 3000 beater, 3300 booty, and I don't know. I know it's just a vanilla beater, but testing online, I found myself making this from my own maxi after going turn 2, and then I'll end up regretting it, because then they'll be playing Zoo, and I'm like, oh damn, I wish I had another one to banish their rat with, So yeah, I decided to go into 2 just in case that ever happens again, because banishing the rat is very good. And then next we have 3 of the Invoked Raijin. This card is really, really good. It's really good against Paleozoics, because you can always use his effect chained after their traps to stop them from getting their Paleozoics back from the graveyard. It's good for saving your Crystal Wing or itself or another monster you control from a Mirror Force effect. It's just a really solid card. If you don't know what it does, once per turn during either player's turn, you could pretty much use it to book a Moon a monster on the field. So it's really, really solid. This deck is a lot of fun. I love the art on all the cards, which is the main reason I wanted to play it. Unfortunately, I haven't been having as much success as I wanted to. I do feel like it's a really decent matchup against Zodiac, but literally 1 person plays Zodiac at my locals, and I've never even played against them. This week they were playing a Burning Abyss version or variant of the Zodiac deck, and I haven't got to play it in person yet. Next weekend I actually will be playing Zodiacs, because I did make the deck. I just haven't even played it in real life yet. I've been testing the hell out of it though, just doing practice through all hands and playing online. So next week I will be playing that. But Windwitch is still my favorite deck, and I'm just gonna keep working at it and trying to make it as best as I can, and I will keep updating. Alright, so we're running 3 Chain Disappearance. I really love this card. It's amazing against a lot of decks this format. It's great against the mirror match. If you get their Alistar, they're hurting very badly, because that's half of their deck right there. You hit the Zodiac's rat, it's really good against them, because that's the heart and soul of their deck. Like I said, it would have been great against the Monarch deck, because it could hit their smaller Monarchs, because I believe both of them are 800 attack. So that would really hurt that deck. I mean, it could hurt Frogs. I've done that online. But Frogs, it does seem that they can get their Frogs back from banished, so it's not the greatest against them, but I mean, it can disrupt them a little bit. But yeah, I love that trap. I think it's an amazing card. Next we go into Cosmic Cyclone. Like I said, Paleozoics was supposed to be pretty dominant at my locals, because it always is every week. So I was trying to find the best sideboard cards for them. I was going to run some Night Beam spells, but my friend brought it to my attention. If you target their trap with Night Beam, no, they can't activate it in chaining to this, but they could always activate another trap and then activate the target that you're trying to Night Beam in response, they can chain it to their other trap. So you pretty much just losing out on a card for nothing. So Cosmic Cyclone, at least if they do chain it, you'll still banish it once the whole chain resolves. Also, if you're playing against a Pendulum-based deck, you know, it banishes their Pendulum scales, and they can't recycle them. You do have to pay 1,000 life, but I mean, for the effect that you're getting, it's pretty worth it. Next, playing 2 Dark Holes. It's a pretty solid card, and not much to explain here. Normally, I'll side this in and take my Call of the Haunteds out if I'm going second. Yeah, it's really good. Then we're playing 3 DD Crow. I love this card. This is another card that you know, I was expecting to be good against DDDs, which it is good against DDDs. It's just I didn't run into them. I think this card actually only came up once or twice. The notable time was against Blue Eyes Invoked. He went to Invoke with Alistar in his graveyard. He had 2 of them in his graveyard. I had 2 DD Crows in my hand and banished both of them, and he did not get to go into his fusion monster. Next, we're running 2 Artifact Lancia. I'm not too sure how I feel about this card. Maybe just based on the meta at my locals, it's not the greatest. I did play it against the Synchro zombie deck though, which it did seem pretty good against him. And I mean, it is good against Invocation. It's just, I don't know. Like I said, I had way too many hand traps in some of my games. Like I would be drawing Lancia, DD Crow, Ghost Ogre, and then you're pretty much just discarding those cards and gaining nothing off of them, just denying your opponent. But I don't know. I'm not too sure how I feel about running as many hand traps as I am. Lastly, I'm running 3 Dingo Sekka. Like I said, I hate Paleo, and I really wanted to sideboard the hell out of for Paleo or whatever. So she is really good against Paleozoics. I just didn't play it this weekend, so I didn't get, you know, to witness firsthand how good it is. But yeah, that's my deck profile, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm always trying to improve this deck. If you have any suggestions, feel free to post them down below. Any suggestions are welcome and appreciated. I do love this deck. It is my favorite deck currently. Other decks that I like to play though are my Magnets. It's really fun. I'm just also trying to improve that deck and make it as competitive as possible. But yeah, thanks a lot for joining me, guys. Just keep looking out for more content from me in the future. I have ordered 3 of the Duelist Saga boxes. Hopefully they come in as early as my Fusion Enforcer boxes came in, because that was dope as hell. I actually got a lot of views, like an overwhelming amount of views. Normally I only get like 1 or 2 from random people, and I think, you know, because I did get that set early, that's the only reason I got them, obviously. But it was pretty cool, and hopefully it happens again this time. Yeah, thanks again, guys. I hope you all take care, and see you next video.